In this video, we're going to look at the word close and we're going to compare it to shut. Close up is a phrasal verb and we will have a look at some phrasal verbs towards the end of this video. Let me ask you a question. Do you get confused sometimes as to whether to use close or shut? Well, there's good reason if you do. To begin with, let's talk about the first and main use of both of these words. And they do share exactly the same meaning when close and shut are verbs, or at least one meaning. So let's focus on the absolute first and foremost main meaning. To close means to shut. I shut the door. I closed the door. Can you close the door? Can you shut the door? Funny. And to shut means, of course, to close. I need to shut the window. Did you close the window? So they're both verbs, and when they're both verbs, that can be relatively easy. In the simple present, close is close. It's a regular verb. And in the simple past, it's closed. Shut, on the other hand, is an irregular verb. And in the simple present, it's shut. And in the simple past, it's shut. So where does the problem come in terms of whether we use shut or close? Well, if it's a verb, it's fairly simple. Let's think of some sentences. Mary closed the window. Mary shut the window. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to shut my eyes. So when they're both verbs, it doesn't matter. They can actually change. You can substitute. However, if we take the two words and their various parts of speech, we change their function in a sentence, that's when it can become a little bit more challenging. So, close is, apart from a verb, it's also a noun. The conference has come to a close. Now, is shut a noun? It is when it's a gerund, but that's a different word. Shut would be shutting with ing. Shutting the window was important. So then it's a noun, but we're just talking about shut. Now, as an adjective, let's have a look at these sentences. Close. I have a close connection to my tennis club. This has a different meaning to shut, because even though shut is also an adjective, we can't substitute close for shut in this sentence. I have a shut connection to my tennis club. And the reason why we can't just substitute it is because they have various meanings, which we're going to have a look at shortly. But we're just going to focus in on the first main meaning. Let's have a look at another one. Pay close attention. So here it is as an adjective. However, we can't just replace close for shut. Pay shut attention? No. And close is also an adverb. He was very close to the finish line. However, shut is not an adverb. So we can't say he was very shut to the finish line. Totally wrong. So here are some sentences where we can see close is used as a noun, adjective, and adverb. Let's now have a look at a few examples to see how shut and close actually work. And you'll soon find out that we can't always just substitute shut and close. We can when it's a verb, when it shares the same meaning. Now, we know that one meaning is the same. To close means to shut. To shut means to close. So if we have the same meaning, this meaning, they both can work interchangeably. However, within each family, so even within verbs, they actually, or close has a number of different meanings. It doesn't just mean one thing. So let's have a look at some examples. So we know the first one, the shop closes at 5 p.m. Can we say the shop shuts? Yes, we can. The shop shuts. And I will just write that down. So shop shuts at 6 p.m. And that's fine because we know that these two meanings are the same. Second sentence. Now, in the second sentence, it's a different meaning. Close means that something has come to an end. It's finished. Some event or something has completed. We'll close the meeting in 5 minutes. Yep, okay, we'll close the meeting. It means that the meeting is going to finish. Can we say we'll shut the meeting? No. Why? Because shut does not mean to end. Now, number 3, close the hole. This means that we want to block, or something is blocked, or we want to block something. I need to close the hole. I'm going to fill it with soil in the garden. There's a hole in the ground. I'm going to fill it with soil. I need to close the hole. So it means to block. Now, can we say shut the hole? No, because shut does not mean to block. Not in the same way. Number 4, this is about accomplishment, about winning. Does shut mean to accomplish? No. I've just closed the deal. Okay, I work in sales. Somebody has just signed. I've won the deal, or I've closed the deal. We can say a couple of different things. And this is a typical collocation. Can we say I've just shut the deal? No. Why? Because shut does not mean accomplish. Number 5, something ceases to operate. In other words, something comes to a stop. The factory closes its doors next week. Can we say the factory shuts its doors next week? Tick. Yes. We can say that because it shares the same meaning. And number 6, and I've highlighted this for a reason, Linda closed up. This means she's scared. There's a bit of fear, emotional fear. Is that what shut means? No. Something shuts down because it's broken, but Linda closed up is an emotional reaction. They do not share the same meaning. And I have highlighted closed up because this is a phrasal verb. Because that's exactly what it means. It means to, don't say anything, freeze. That's what it means. Now, can we say, this is interesting, can we say Linda shut up? We actually can because it's a verb. However, it has an entirely different meaning. Linda shut up. Now, if we say Linda shut up, it means that she didn't say anything. It could also be a command. Linda, shut up. In other words, be quiet. So this one's very tricky. Now let's have a look at the word close when we use it as an adjective. So, and again, it has a number of different meanings, which are not exhaustive, but these are the main ones that would be helpful for you to know. So number one, the table is close to the wall. That's about proximity, distance, close to the wall. Now, can we say that shut would work here? The table is shut to the wall. Oh, no, definitely not, because shut does not mean proximity. Number two, that fabric has a close weave. Oh, that's about being dense, being very tight. Lots of fabric, lots of fabric per centimetre or per square metre even. So there is a lot of fabric that's all closely woven together. That fabric has a close weave, is what we would say. Number three, this is about competition. Oh, actually, come back to number two. That fabric has a shut weave. For the same reasons. Shut does not mean dense. Therefore, we can't just substitute shut. We can't just change close for shut. Three, this is about competition. She is in for a close win. In other words, that's about, being competitive. A close win. Can we say she's in for a shut win? No. Again, different meaning. Number four, this is about family, to do with relations, with family relations. Brad is a close relative. Maybe he's a distant cousin. Maybe he's my brother. Brad is a close relative. Now, can we say Brad is a shut relative? No, because, again, shut doesn't mean family. Therefore, we can't substitute one adjective for another with a different meaning. 5, they have a close relationship. This is to do with relationships. So not just family, but other types of relationships. And again, they have a shut relationship? No. Number 6, that was a close call. And that's to do with luck. Yeah, boy, am I lucky. That was a close call. And close call, that is actually a collocation, a close call, because, of course, it means that was very, that was a close call. In other words, that was really risky. That was we had a really slim chance. That was a big risk that we just took. That was a close call. It's difficult to explain that one. So there you have it. Can we say that was a shut call? No, we can't say that either, because shut has nothing to do with luck. Let's now have a look at close in terms of an adverb and a noun. Now, I've only given a couple of examples in each. These are by no means exhaustive, which means we can look at lots of examples, which means the video could go for an hour or more. So we'll just have a look at a couple of examples. So as an adverb, let's have a look at number 1. Jane stood close to the exit. Where did she stand? She stood close to the exit. Can we say Jane stood shut to the exit? No. Todd is close by, and this is a phrasal verb, meaning that he's not very far away. He is quite close. Todd is close by. If we say Todd is close, that could mean he is close in terms of a relationship, but this is close in terms of space, proximity. Can we say Todd is shut by? Definitely not. And as a noun, let's have a look at close as a noun. Now, the first sentence relates to something that comes to an end, finished. You have until close of business to finish the report. Close of business. Now, what does close of business mean? This is an idiom in business. It's an idiom. It's a business idiom, actually. And it means by the end of the day, by the time that the doors close at the end of the day for business, means that you have until close of business to finish the report. And close of business often looks like this. Close of business. So you might see COB or hear the term COB. Now, can we say you have until shut of business? No, definitely not. 2, prices were down at the close of trading. This is to do with money. So prices were down at the close of trading. What this means is that when you trade, lots of money being exchanged, prices were down. So prices were down simply means that money wasn't worth as much as when it's up. When it's up, the dollar is worth more money. So can we say prices were down at the shut of trading? Makes a little bit more sense, but we wouldn't say that. So there we have using close as a verb, adjective, adverb, and noun. And so that's a really good practice to do, is to think of your sentence and simply substitute it for shut and see if it makes sense. So now that we've had a look at close, let's have a look at shut and its various parts of speech, how it can be used. So we're going to have a look at it in terms of being a verb, because it can be a verb, as we know. Shut can also be an adjective, and it can also be a noun. So let's have a look at the 3 examples. And of course, these are just a couple of examples, just one for each. So looking at verb, we know that to shut means to close. I'm shutting down the computer. I'm closing down the computer. Yep, this one's quite okay. We can actually substitute because we know that shut means to close. As an adjective, it actually means closed. The blinds were shut, so I opened them. The blinds were closed, so I can open them. So in this instance, because shut means closed and they're both adjectives, it means we can, in this case, substitute and it would be fine. The blinds were closed. That would be fine. Now, what about the noun? As a noun, I've got here, shutting her out of his life was sad. It means to push away. Shutting her out, push her away. And that was sad. So shut goes to shutting because here it's a gerund, otherwise known as a noun. Shutting her out. Now, shutting her out is also a collocation. Can we say closing her out of his life was sad? Close her out? No, we would have to say closing her out of his life was sad. Grammatically, that works. However, we don't say that in English. We would say shutting her out. This is a very typical collocation, as we call it. Shutting her out. Now, to finish off with, I thought it might be a good idea just to share a few phrasal verbs if that's not going to confuse your idea of shut versus close. However, let's have a look. Let's start with shut. Shut down. I'm going to shut down my computer. That simply means to close. I'm going to turn it off. It means to turn off. Shut up. And I mentioned that one a little earlier. Shut up can be very rude in English. When you say to somebody, shut up, it's actually very, very rude. And what you're telling somebody to do is to stop talking. I'm not interested in listening. Now, if we say shut up shop, I'm going to shut up shop. That means something else again. That means I'm going to close the business. Shut myself away. I'm going to shut myself away. That means I'm going to lock myself, or maybe just be by myself for a while so I can do what I want to do. Maybe to think, to write, to study, to do whatever it is I need to do. So it's to be by myself. Shut myself away. Now, when we talk about close, here we have close-up. I'm going to take a close-up. That means I'm going to take a photo of somebody where they're very close up. So it's it's just their face, maybe not the whole body. Close-up. That was a good close-up. That was a good close-up photograph. Close by. Lucy is close by. That means she's not far away. She's actually quite close. So it's about distance, proximity. And close in. The police are going to close in shortly. So that's to do with cornering, to get somebody into a corner. So if police are closing in, it means they're getting very close to arresting somebody, a criminal, for something. Well, actually, they're not a criminal at that point, but to close in, it means I'm closing in. It means I'm getting closer to the outcome. So if police are arresting someone, they're getting closer to that outcome. So there are just 6 phrasal verbs, because of course there are hundreds of them in English. I hope you've enjoyed this video on the difference between close and shut. Leave comments below if you've got any questions whatsoever about this topic. I'm Larissa. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.